there's a lot more involved than just applying, because what the UK government is saying is you can apply for a qualified teacher status. You can't be employed in the state schools here. All right, I'll be giving you statistics later, without having a QTS. But you can be employed in other schools, independent schools, for 4 years without a QTS. But after 4 years, so you can be employed, I'm told, in the state schools for 4 years without a QTS. Please, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, but after that, you must have a QTS because there's a shortage of teachers. I think that's why they put that policy in. In the independent schools, you don't have to have a QTS. You are encouraged to have a QTS. And we are still learning. I love my country. I believe in Nigeria. I believe in other international countries also. And we are still learning how to uphold standards, because when you keep to standards, it helps you to be able to establish a system that will handle that will be sustainable for years. All right. And so with my experience in Nigeria, I've seen teachers that don't even have enough to feed, borrow money and give to scammers. I know a man, when I saw him and he came for for a job in our school, this man was only 30, but he was all wrinkled. And what happened? Someone told him, oh, yes, I can get you to go to Canada. You can work there. And he borrowed 500,000 naira that he was still paying up to that time. When I think about it, I feel like crying. And it's not only, I've heard of so many people being scammed, because they said, I was even watching a program. It's, you know what's happening. So we can get you abroad, but at the end of the day, they give them money, they get into trouble, and some of them are sold as sexual slaves. You're quite aware of that, aren't you, Bukola? I'm sure you are. I know Lamide is very much aware of it. It's great to see you, my dear friend. Kike, thank you for connecting. And so we felt, look, it's important that we get this information out there so that we don't get Nigeria and other teachers from Africa being scammed. We need to let them know it takes more than just getting this qualified teacher status. Then also the need to be accurately positioned so that they can get good jobs. Because after you get the certificate, which we were going through the process, I don't know if you know anything about it, or if any of you know about the process. You have to make sure you have a teacher qualification from Nigeria. And you know that in Nigeria, quite a number of teachers teach without having the proper qualification. You have to have a university degree. You have sent out links to give information about that, because that's not what our core focus is in the Voice of One Education Consult. You also have to be teaching in a secondary school. And then you also have to be teaching math, science, biology, chemistry, physics, French, German, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Russian, Spanish. And then also the number of months that you've been working matters. You just can't say, oh, you're a teacher and you don't have evidence to prove you've been teaching. And also something that we are not aware of in Nigeria yet, you have to make sure you get a police report to show that you don't have any restrictions on your teaching career and you've gotten into any trouble. And so after doing that, you now have to, one of the links that we sent says you have to aggressively get good jobs here. And I'll show you some figures now for you to understand what is before you. And then also we feel the challenge is for us to represent Nigeria in the best way possible, because when we do get these jobs, it's not permanent. There is a need, in Nigeria, when you get a job, some people do so many things to be able to be permanent, but in the UK, there's constant feedback. You have to be giving your best. And so we have figures that we would like to help you. 47 countries with varied population sizes are being solicited to apply for this shortage in teaching jobs in the UK. Now, what Nigerians and other African teachers are being offered here in the UK is the opportunity to get a qualified teacher status, but you must be teaching maths or any of the subjects, the STEM subjects, the science subjects, all the languages that I just said. You must have experience in a secondary school. From what we gathered, we have 3,458 secondary schools in England. These are state schools, the public schools. Then you have 2,400 private secondary schools in England. I stand to be corrected. I have Kim in the house. She is the authority. And when I checked the projected QTS awards, because there's a lot of statistics research going on in the UK to make sure things are accurate, which we're also developing in Nigeria. They're looking to give a total of 2,303 to 2,922 QTS awards to overseas teachers in 2022 to 2023. And out of this, 619 to 1,238 awards have been projected to give to newly eligible teachers in all these 47 countries. Now, for you to come into the UK, a school has to sponsor you. It's not automatic. Even when you get that QTS, qualified teacher status, you have to find a school that can bring in skilled workers. And currently, as of yesterday, we have 446 schools. You can see the figures, which is a combination of both primary and secondary schools. So what does that mean? Nigeria and other African countries have something to offer. However, they need to be educated to cover these learning gaps, because when you even apply for the QTS, you're going to be assessed according to your teaching skills. And quite a number of Nigerian teachers, because that's the place the sphere I've come from. When I look at the way teaching is being done in the UK, we still have a lot to learn. All right. So the first thing you need to know is you need to cover these learning gaps. Number two, you need to educate yourself on what it takes to get a QTS successfully and have a heart of integrity. We were just discussing the fact that in Nigeria, you have to pay the Teachers Registration Council 60,000 naira to be able to get a letter recommending you that you're a teacher. While Ghanaian teachers just have to download. We checked just recently. And so far, from people who have applied from the different countries that we know in Africa, we know a Ghanaian teacher that has successfully gotten a QTS. We'll send you the links if it's there on YouTube. But we're yet to hear of a Nigerian teacher that has done the same. Am I making sense to someone? You are going to be assessed. Do you have what it takes? VO1 education can support you to make sure that you could actually do it yourself. Please, I want you to understand that there's so much information on YouTube and on the internet, but sometimes because of our background, we find it difficult to be able to process, to analyze this. And so we want to help in that regard. Also, in positioning yourself for a good teaching job, you need knowledge and education. You can get this yourself. You can get it from your friends, or you can get it from educational consultants like us. You need to have a CV after you've gotten the certificate, or even while you're going through the process of the certificate, because it can take 3 to 6 months. Have a good CV, know where to apply. And one of the things that we have is the ability to connect you to teaching agencies here and they are already waiting. I've already spoken to 2 of them that have branches all over the UK, and they're waiting that if we can give them competent teachers that we recommend. And the reason why is because I've had to work with them, and I did excellently there because I learned the standards. I had a flexible mindset, and I made sure that some things were done properly. We're going to be talking about that. And then also the need to represent Nigeria in the best way possible by excelling in these jobs. You need to get the best form of education. Kim is on board. She's going to be telling us about the wonderful offer. And I tell you, one of the most exciting things that have happened to me in the area of education is meeting Kim. Because when I saw what was on ground here and the heart that my husband and I have for reforming education in Nigeria, we knew that it wasn't possible for many Nigerian teachers to come over to the UK. So how can they have access to this kind of training online at a comfortable rate, at a rate that they can handle? So many Nigerians have borrowed so much money to come here, and they get into trouble. I don't think I need to go into that. Some of you know that already. And so I was asking around some of the lecturers, checking on the web, and all the prices were so exorbitant until I met Kim. She's going to be telling you the rest. Secondly, a lot of Nigerian teachers need to be able to speak fluent English. We're good in reading and writing, but not in speaking, and also listening. You need to get training in that. We're also going to have someone talking to us about how to upgrade ourselves in that area. And then also VO1 education, we have one of our consultants here who's going to be talking to us about the cultural adjustment. Things are done differently here. And even if you come here, what's the guarantee that you will be able to last a year? I can tell you that there's some Nigerians that are under a lot of pressure. They can't cope with the change in culture. Even visa issues hold them down, having to deal with lawyers, housing, and all that. We want to offer support in that area. So very quickly, I want to ask you, just write 3 things as I hand over to Kim, 3 things that you want to learn in this seminar. That's our start point. All right. I told you there's going to be some educating taking place. And then at the end of the day, I want you to check, were you able to learn those 3 things? Because goal setting is something that we need to learn in Nigeria. Also, we're going to offer you a certificate of participation. 3 things, and all we need to do, want you to do, we're not just going to give it to you like that. We want you to tell us 3 things you've learned from this seminar and how you want to apply it. These are references that you can access yourself. We're going to be giving you the slides so that you can educate yourself. C'est bien? So these are contact details, and Kim, over to you.